You know, My Little Pony, Marks for Effort, made me realize something. Twilight is actually running a reform school for the cruel, unlikable, and hopelessly socially inept.
And every single student is there because of glaring personality flaws.
Anyway, the episode is fairly slow to start, but once it hits top speed, it's pretty good. Not for any big reason, but because the episode gets a lot of little things right. Let's start by looking at the dialogue. Marks for Effort has some sparkling wordplay. A lot of it has to do with the strength of the characters and the clarity of their motives. This is a CMC episode, but almost every major character has a cameo. The simple story setup, namely the CMCs want to get into Twilight's school, requires little in the way of explanation, so we get lots of great moments of characters just interacting. We get to hear Rainbow Dash stroking her ego, Pinkie being weird and random and weird, and AJ just being her down-home country fried self, while advancing the plot at the same time. Now let's look at the plot. This episode is a good example of using what you have, namely, seeing how the CMCs react to the show's new status quo. However, we're almost halfway through the episode by the time we get to the real story, where the CMCs act as friendship tutors. It just doesn't feel like there's a goal until Posy Glow shows up. She's a decent catalyst character. She's got a nice design, and her personality isn't offensive in a way that makes it hard to watch. And most importantly, she gives the CMCs something to do. Both the individual and group scenes with Posy have great energy, and are fun to watch. I also dig how she clearly belongs at friendship school, by being callous and transparently manipulative.
Kinda like a less homicidal version of that kid from Cats Don't Dance.
Now, let's talk comedy. This is another well-done aspect of the episode. A lot of it is owed to the sharp dialogue, but there are some great comic set pieces. Posy's individual lessons with the CMCs, particularly the Bon Bon and Mrs. Cake scenes, are great. Mostly because of the humorous turn things take.
Seeing Bon Bon hit in the face with a cactus.
Seriously, you gotta love Posy's well-meaning but inept strategies for friendshipping. Also, every time the CMCs get called into Twilight's office, it's great. Great dialogue, great transitions, and Twilight acting like a friendship-themed Bond villain. But the moment of the episode belongs to Miss Starlight Glimmer. The sequence in her office with Posy is just spectacular. The humor comes from Starlight's sudden enthusiasm for finally having someone to guide. Her overreactions are very funny. There are also great lines like, "Empathy, Coco," and this expression. Just look at it. The insane mugging for the camera bit has gotten pretty overplayed lately, thanks to the CalArts kids. But this one works, because it's a very overplayed version of a blank expression, which is a fantastic humorous contrast. Finally, on a technical level, this episode really uses the comic rule of 3. This is where a pattern is established with the first 2 iterations of something, then broken for comic effect with the third. You see it all over the episode. Okay, now it's time to break down the good and the bad in My Little Pony, Marks for Effort. On the good side, the episode has a great subtle sense of humor, an engaging plot, and great character work from the extended main cast. On the downside, the plot takes an awful long time to get going, and the weakest content is at the front, so I give My Little Pony, Marks for Effort, a 4 out of 5. Now, if you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel right here on YouTube. And find my Facebook and Deviantart pages for video updates and more. Thanks for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.